Welcome to Women Need to Do Better, right? Or that's at least what we tell ourselves. We're already doing all the things the best that we can, but somehow we have that story in our heads that we're not quite doing enough, or we are carrying the weight of everybody to try to get all the things done. And we have a hard time shutting our brains off. We feel guilty if we try to take some time for ourselves because there's too many other things that need to get done. And quite honestly, if you think about it, do you sometimes quietly question your own value or worth? That's the kind of things that we talk about here in Women Need to Do Better. We have honest conversations about the weight that we carry and the lies that we tell ourselves and why we actually keep carrying it. Plus, what does it look like to actually put some of that down and finally live lighter? If you're new to me, thank you so much. I very much appreciate your time to watch me. My name is 𝘆cie_KRSHINMAN, and I talk all about different ways to manage stress for high-achieving women that have that growing, never-ending to-do list. We are in week 5 of a 6-week project that I was doing on stress. And last week we talked about stress triggers. So this week we are talking about walking on eggshells. If this sounds like you, pull up a chair. Come on, let's chat. So the walking on eggshells, this has to do with that persons, whoever it is, and let me know if you can kind of relate to this. It's that person that you're going to send a text to. And before you send that text, you read it, and then you reread it. And you keep mulling it over in your head before you even hit send to make sure that it sounds okay, the tone is right, they can't misinterpret your words, because you're trying so hard, again, the walking on eggshells, to try to anticipate how they're going to receive your message and not view you in an attacking mode. And it has nothing to do with the words that you're saying, but it has everything to do with the energy of what you're projecting because of the past experiences you've had with this person. And you are trying so hard to navigate what they might interpret of what you're saying and how they might receive you. So if that sounds like something that you've gone through, let me kind of paint a picture for you and tell you a story, and then we'll unravel this at the end of it. I usually run about 15, 20 minutes, try to keep it to the point so that way you don't waste your time. So walking on eggshells is basically when we start prioritizing someone else's reaction over our own truth. And so we kind of shrink ourselves, and it stems from repeated interactions that constantly go sideways. Well, are they going to be upset when they read what I'm saying? Are they going to start, bringing up something from the past? And you're trying to be a good communicator. You're really trying to be the bigger person and let stuff slide. But really what you're doing, if you're being honest with yourself, is it's self-abandonment. You are trying to silence yourself in order to manage someone else's emotional response. And really that isn't kindness, and it doesn't help either side, doesn't help you and doesn't help them. And the trade-off is really expensive because you're costing yourself, and it's not going to be something that disappears. It's something that you're going to take that weight of that relationship. And as long as you continue with it, you're going to carry that load. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard because I can relate. Give you a scenario. I have a client that I've been working with for years. And I want to tell you one thing about stress and navigating stress to make your life lighter. It is not linear. It's not, I'm going to implement these tools and then poof, one day I'm going to wake up and no more stress. It's going to be constant reflection, self-development, and work. So if you're not in for that, it's okay. No judgment. But if that's what you want, is a lighter life, less stress, understand that it's going to take a lot of self-reflection and work on your part. So the scenario is, I have this client, her name is Trish. I have permission to use her story. She is married, she has young kids, and she is a working mom. Both of the parents work outside the home. But the scenario is, they go to work, each of them, I think if I remember correctly, husband gets the kids ready in the morning to get them off to school because she has to be to work before school starts, and then she does the pickup. So yes, they do kind of share that responsibility. The problem is, once she gets home, because she gets home before him, she is already hitting the ground running, where she is checking up on what their homework was, what's going to be for dinner, cleaning up the house, starting laundry, like all those little things. And if you think about your own life when you are in your normal, like Monday through Friday job, do you have to make a list? Some things are kind of just on autopilot. You just do. You just dig in and you start doing the things that need to get done. Kind of like if you were to stop doing it, then people would notice what's not getting cleaned or what's not getting done. Those are those invisible loads that we carry. And I've learned through a lot of the clients that I've worked with, sometimes those invisible loads that we carry, we do that because we are walking on eggshells. It is the trying to get everything in the house prepared to be in a certain condition before her husband came home. So she never really got a chance to have that downtime, because if you remember, she has to be to work earlier than husband and the kids. So she's getting up earlier, getting everything ready, start to set things out. Just to make, what she did was she would get things set out for her husband and kids in the morning on top of her routine for herself to get ready for work. So that way his job is a little easier. Make sure the lunches are set out, make sure that backpacks are by the door so they don't forget things, put special notes on the fridge in case there's, oh, don't forget the permission slip or the money for school field trip, or all those little things, all the little details. And then when she got home, once again, there's no downtime for her because she is getting the dinner ready, cleaning up the kitchen, checking in with the kids, making sure that their needs are met, making sure that they're, as parents, you have to keep checking behind your children, depending on the ages. And yes, you have their responsibilities, but your responsibility as a parent is to make sure that they are doing what they're being asked to do. Because how many of your kids would say, oh yeah, I did that, and then you ask them, okay, well, show me. And this, oh yeah, okay, I forgot, hang on, I'll go do it now. And that's part of parenting. So her problem was anytime at the end of the day, if she had like a full day, she was just really exhausted from doing all the things. She wanted to ask her husband, hey, can you make dinner tonight? Or can you get the kids ready for bed? Or something where it wasn't all fully on her to do. But before she would ask, it's like she had to do this checking in thing, like, what's his body language? Hey, how was your day? It's almost like, when is it okay? When is her husband emotionally ready to take on some more? And so she carries all that load before she can even ask for help. And a couple weeks ago, I talked about the helper brain versus the saver brain, and helping versus saving. This is a little bit of that, where, sometimes we don't ask for help because really what it is we don't want the repercussions for asking for help. Sometimes what happens when we ask for help is then we get the excuses of, you don't understand, I've been on my feet all day, or I had such a stressful day, I haven't gotten any time to decompress, I had to get the kids to school and I just got home. All the excuses. And there's no reflection on, I wonder what my wife is going through. And when she tries to bring that up, well, I've had, no, you don't understand. And it's shut down. So she has learned that she can't ask for help, that it's going to be a battle. And really, it's a better battle because we know what to expect if we just do the things and not ask for help. We don't want to walk on the eggshells. We don't want to get yelled at. We don't want to get told how much easier our lives are and how much harder they have it. And the problem with that is it isn't about whose life is more challenging, who had a more stressful day. Both are true. She's probably had a really rough day. She hasn't had a chance to decompress and have some downtime. He probably could have had a rough day. Or, you know what? I'm being a little dismissive, aren't I, for him? I get a little protective of women because I see this over and over. It's a pattern that it's almost like, because women have chosen to work outside the home for whatever reason, we're still expected to do all the duties at home in a lot of homes. The child raising, the cleaning the house, the taking care of the family. And when is it your time to rest? When is it your time to get to, and I'm not talking about, okay, I did get some time for myself. I went on a girls' retreat, or I had a girls' night out, or I went out to the spa with my girlfriends. How often is that? And what I've seen consistently in the people that I've been coaching, the women that I've been coaching, is it's almost daily. The men will come home, they get to decompress, they get to, sit down on the couch, kick off their shoes, watch TV, and she's barely gotten her shoes off before she's at the kitchen washing dishes, preparing dinner, checking on laundry, checking on the kids, picking up poop if they have a pet, whatever the duties are. There is no automatic, I'm going to sit down on the couch and just kind of take 15 minutes to myself. And when she does that, then she feels guilty. Or the kids are, hey, mom, I need this. Or, hey, the requests come in. And so being in that kind of a situation, she feels like, I can't ask for help because then he's going to tell me how hard he has it. And then I just feel guilty. And then, oh, I'm so sorry. And I just continue to do what I do. But like they say, if you continue on the same path, you're going to get the same result, right? You can't walk down the same road and expect to get to a different destination. So what do we do with that? Why can we just, we can't just keep on taking on the same responsibility. And this is the B word I'm going to drop on you: boundaries. It's hard. It feels so uncomfortable, but who's keeping track of everything that you've swallowed? If you don't put some boundaries down, and you see this on social media all over the place, you see this in conversations where you're getting the hard truth, it really is about boundaries. And having boundaries in those relationships is what needs to happen. But how do you get there when you've got a partner that dismisses your needs or doesn't give you that safe environment to voice what it is that you need? Because a lot of times women will feel attacked. We are trying to set boundaries. Honey, can we talk, please? I just feel like the balance is uneven with the responsibilities of the house. Yeah, right? Or maybe they are willing to talk, but it changes for a day or two, and then it goes right back to she's carrying the load again, and he's getting to relax. And that's when you just sort of like, I can't do this anymore, because that's not a real relationship. A real relationship has a give and a take. And you don't want to be in a relationship where your needs are quietly disappearing while you're holding everything for everybody else. So where do we start with this? How do we stop walking on eggshells? Well, what you want to do is you want to try this just for a week. It's not a hard conversation. It's just first recognize and maybe take notes on all the things that you have taken on because you are unwilling to ask for help for whatever reason. And that's not a judgment. I've done it myself too. I was unwilling to ask because I didn't want to be met with the resistance that I would get. And the way I felt after asking for help wasn't worth asking for help. That's really what it boiled down to. And I see this in my clients all the time. It's the same situation. Players are different, but the feelings are the same. You try to ask for help, and you feel guilty, or you get, feeling like, why did I even bother? I don't want to fight. So the first week is just writing down what's going on, because you can't fix what you don't know is broken. You don't know where to start if you don't know what specific things are going on. So you're going to be writing down what the situation was, like what was your responsibility, what were you hoping to ask for to get help, and what you think would have been the result if you asked for help. And that's where you start. So that's one piece of it. That's all I'm going to give you on this episode, because I know that is a really, really heavy emotional load. I've been there. I've worked with many people through it. So give yourself some grace, but just recognize and make it someplace where, maybe someone's not going to read it, because trust me, I have seen that blow up where they read it, and it could go one of two ways. One is they actually recognize what your load is, or it turns into a fight. And I don't want that for you. I want you to have some peace. I want you to be able to live lighter. So if you can just write it down just for yourself, so that way you can kind of acknowledge and see, because I promise you, when you start writing stuff down, it's going to bring some stuff up that are very uncomfortable. And that's what we avoid. And because we avoid that, one of the reasons we stay stuck where we're at. That's all I'm going to give you for this episode. I know it's a lot. Next week, we are going to kind of wrap all of this up with the last episode for this stress series. And I, again, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And next week, we're going to dive into like ways to stay ahead of the stress and different tips on how to de-escalate the asking for help. I would love it if you would subscribe to my podcast. We talk about all kinds of issues, especially with high achieving women that carry a big mental load. And if you are interested in seeing maybe where do you stand on your stress barometer, I have a stress test linked in the comments of the show notes. Go ahead and take it. See what I'd love to hear your comments on where you're at with that. And I will see you next week. Love you. Stay living lighter and try to put in that B word, the boundaries.